How you doing, YouTube squad? Welcome to my channel, hashtag YouTube can be great. This is the Marriage Bootcamp Reality Stars Family Edition Season 13 Episode 1 review. Family Secrets Ahead was this episode title. Now let's get into it. Now we already know that they had to change the entire cast because some drama happened with the original cast. So this one that they had, I don't know how they're gonna be, but I'm gonna tell you what happened this episode because we got a glimpse of things that I'm a little bit concerned about. So here we go. Now in walks in Aaron Carter and his mother Jane. And apparently they're going to be this whole damaged family type situation. I guess Aaron Carter's been performing since he was 7 years old. Right after his brother Nick Carter, who was in Backstreet Boys, left the house at 13. There's 20 years of resentment and mistrust between the both of them then that they have to work out with. And you can already tell based on the way that Aaron is already responding to his mom. Like he's like already ready to pick at anything that she says incorrectly because he obviously has some issues that he needs to resolve. Then we have Real Housewives Alexis Bellino and her mother Penelope come in. She says that she had to raise herself at 12 years old, become the mother of the family because her mom left and she wasn't around or she wasn't a good mom. So she has a lot of stuff that she has, a parallel between the way that her life is going and the way that her mom's life is going. And she feels like it's her mama's fault and she wants to come on this show and blame her mama for everything that's wrong with her in her adult life. But here we go for that one, that's their issue. Then we have Laura Govan. If y'all remember her from Basketball Wives, in like I think the first season, Gloria was on it, and it was a whole issue where Shawnee O'Neal was going after Gloria, saying that Laura had fucked Shaq while they were friends, and she felt like she was being played. Then Laura came in Basketball Wives LA, got into a fight with Malaysia while she was still big. She just had a baby. She got into a fight with Malaysia. Malaysia punched her in the face. She pushed her. They all got into a fight, and then she ended up losing weight, and then came back. The reunion said she was engaged, but we ain't heard about her marriage since then. But she's here with her father. I believe his name was Michael, and her mom, Gloria, ironically the same name as her sister. And they're on here because Laura's parents have an issue with Laura. Whatever she speaks, there's mistrust. They don't trust anything that she says. I'm going to tell you one of the most important things she says that they had an issue with, but they're here because they have their problems. It seems like Laura's family is going to be the shit-talking crew because in the confessionals, they have a lot to say about everybody else. They're not really speaking on themselves. Then we have the last family coming, which is they came in under a license plate called Lost Boys. Is Cory, who's apparently an actor. I've never seen him. I don't know anything about him, but he's an actor. I guess he was like in Stand By Me, and he did all these. Oh, he was like a child actor. We have his brother Eden, and we have his wife Courtney. Now, 3 of them are coming in here. Cory's supposed to be a big shot person in the family. He's the producer, the singer, the writer, the artist, the actor, the savior. I don't know who he is, but he's apparently the whole shit of the entire family. And his brother's accomplishments, even though his brother did the same thing, acted as well, is pushed aside, and his wife is just there as the filler, the middle ground person that either is going to make things good or worse, or good or bad. Then we have them all meet up in the house. They're all talking. We can tell right off the bat that Cory's arrogant. I mean, he's like, oh, I'm not going to talk about myself, but I did this, and I did this, and I did 100 albums, and I wrote songs, and I did 100 films, and 4 to 5 TV series, and I had number 1 movies, and I've done over 100 TV appearances, but I'm not going to talk about myself, y'all. I'm just not going to do it. I'm just looking at him like, okay, whatever. Then we have Gloria saying that she trusts nobody because when she was 13 years old, she was molested. And according to her, she told her father, and her father said verbatim, well, what do you want me to do? And while her mom said nothing. And so she wants her mom to be able to speak up and not be her friend. I'm sitting here like, hold on. You told your daddy that somebody molested you at 13 years old, and his response was, what do you want me to do about it? Or what do you want me to do? Now, this is the introduction that they came in with. And I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be discussed again. And it was. And when that happened, at the end of the show, I'm going to tell y'all what I think about that situation. Then we go into Cory, who says that he's there because there's a lot of family resentment as far as who was the breadwinner in the family. Erin says that his brother, Nick Carter, was when he was with the Backstreet Boys, was the breadwinner of the family. But he left at 13, so he was left to make the money. His parents spent the hell out of all his money and left his ass with nothing because here he is, broke, making only like X amount of dollars. He don't have nothing no more. Now, Alexis says her mom cheated on her dad when she was 12 years old, and it caused a lot of trouble for her, including an eating disorder. And the mom went back to college, and she became the mom of the house. Alexis's mom, Penelope, then says that she was the mom of the house at age 12 herself, so she didn't think that it was bad, basically, for Alexis to assume that role because she herself experienced the same thing at her age. But when Penelope speaks, it's like she's kind of cold a little bit. Like her life experiences have made her jaded to where she doesn't show any emotion anymore. So her daughter has all these emotions she's pouring out, and she's just like, well, this is what happened to me too. What are you whining about type situation. Then they go into this room. Dr. V and Dr. Ish introduce themselves and explain that Marriage Bootcamp is this rigorous program, 10-day experience. They're going to either pick each other to be with each other's family, or there's too toxic or too dysfunctional to repair. And they call it the gift shop. It's the room that they're in. They're supposed to all go into this box and select a souvenir, and the souvenir is supposed to be a reflection of what's going on in their life. So Erin goes first, and he picks out a cash cow, and like with a bunch of cash dollars as the little like stamped all over it. And they asked him, what do you think about this? And he does this whole, I just feel like I was the money of the family. And I couldn't tell if he was really crying or if it was like a fake tear. I don't know. I couldn't tell if it was like sincere, because he's saying that he felt like he was the cash money maker of the family, and he probably was. There are a lot of child stars that go out there because they're minors. Their mothers are the ones who control their money, and there are a lot of situations where the parents abuse their money. We heard that situation happen with Beyonce. We heard it happen with Pretty Ricky. It happens a lot. So I'm not, it's not something that shocks me, but the way that he was doing it, I couldn't tell if it was sincere, because this had to be arguments he's had years and years and years with his mama. But he's over here crying, and then Cory in the background is empathizing with him because he himself felt like he had to make the money for the family as well. But he said he felt like he's a cash cow. And then what's funny about it is that Erin's father actually said that Erin was a cash cow. And the mom said that he wasn't the one who said that, but Erin's the one who did. Then they have the mom come up, and his mother, Jane, picks up in her bag, she picks up a stack of money and a book called Parenting 101. And when she does, they flash to Erin, he's like, oh. And I'm like, bruh, this show just started. Are we start like this already? And Cory goes over to give him a hug because he's feeling his pain. And the mom is saying, I didn't steal from my son. I didn't take more than what I was owed because I was his manager. I only took my fee. And I'm sitting here thinking, well, who came up with that fee? Was it Erin who came up with the fee that you deserve? Or was it you who decided that you're the one who came up with the fee and took his money? So now he's sitting up here thinking that he has nothing left over. And the mom said, Erin says, do you remember? The mom says, Erin, I told you I didn't steal your money. He believes me, right? You believe me, right? You believe me. And Erin's looking at her like, okay, do you remember the situation we're talking about when I was 24 years old? I was working on Broadway, making $600 a week and some change. And my whole wages were being garnished. Talking about the IRS that he owes $5 million worth in taxes. And you trying to tell me that you didn't steal my money? She was like, but it wasn't me. It was your dad. The mom says she felt for him while when his wages were being garnished, and she felt for him, and she even started doing her fake crying too, that she was in pain when Erin's money was being taken. I said, you weren't in that much pain because you were the one that's supposed to pay it back. If you were in that much pain, you'd be the one that's coming out your pocket, not his wages being garnished. And you talk about I felt for him. Bitch, bye. You're making that shit up. Erin's mom, the entirety of this entire episode, does not know how to take responsibility as a parent. It is not your place to tell your child what they experienced as a child because you were not in their shoes. And if your child is telling you that this is what I experienced from you, especially now that I had made millions of dollars and I'm the one that's broke in my adult life, you didn't save me nothing, and my wages are being garnished, and I have $5 million that I owe in taxes, and I have yet to hit 18, and at 24 I'm being garnished from it, you have a part to play. You can't just throw it all on my dad because you both were my parents. It's both of y'all responsibility. And then Erin also discloses that he felt like he's the reason why his sister and his father died, and that's a burden that he's been carrying on his shoulders. Now when he said that, I was like, okay, if he really feels like he's the reason why his father and his sister died, that is a huge weight for a child to carry, and it fucks with you psychologically. And we all know recently that, I don't know if it's TMZ or Yahoo that came out saying that Nick Carter and his wife had accused Erin Carter of being a schizophrenic and a bipolar individual, so much so that he went on Twitter and said, you know what, that he has no family anymore and they're not his own family members at all. And so I'm sitting here thinking, if this guy is sitting here thinking that he's the reason why his sister and his father died, I would go crazy too if it was me, if that's really what I feel. Then Cory gets his gift, and it's an empty album. He stated that he basically feels like he didn't have a childhood, and that his empty album, a photo album, just means that his mom, according to Eden, who confirms it, has no photos of them as children. And he felt like he had an abusive childhood, and his brother kind of co-signed it, saying that whenever Cory didn't do what he was supposed to do, he was beat. Whenever he didn't do what the parents wanted him to do, he was beat. And whenever he asked his parents to give me something from my childhood to even show that I was a child, they ain't got nothing for him. I'm just sitting here thinking that this whole Hollywood situation makes me not want to put my child in that type of situation, because it's a hot ass mess. Do I want to look back years later and all this money and look at my child feeling like they didn't even get to be a child because, yeah, I stole it? That's just too much. But he put it all out there. And Alexis's gift, when they have her, she picks up a broken home. And she says that she has 2 broken homes. Her mom got a divorce, and then now she's with her husband in Real Housewives, and she just got a divorce too. She feels like the cycle's repeating itself, and she's hoping that she can break that cycle so her children can have a better future and not end up in a divorce. And divorce can be a generational curse if it's not taken care of the right way, or if there's no proper coping mechanisms to help you guys learn the mistakes that you have made to make the next marriage better. And so she expresses this, and then they talk about Penelope when her mom goes up. It's a Happy Mother's Day card that she picks up, and the card reads verbatim, "I hate you, I blame you, Alexis," and it says Happy Mother's Day on it. I'm thinking to myself, what kind of fucked up ass shit is that? At 12 years old, that's what Alexis gave her mom. I hate you, I blame you, Happy Mother's Day. And they ask Penelope how she feels, and Penelope says, I don't feel anything at this point, I'm just cold. I would be cold too if my daughter gave me that at 12 years old, and if I just went through a divorce, and if I'm still trying to get myself together. I just feel like Penelope she shut off her emotions so she doesn't self-destruct. And Alexis feels like she's trying to get her mother to just give her something, and her mother ain't giving her nothing. And through this entire season, we're gonna find out why she's so cold, because they're gonna have a lie detector test, and they're probably gonna ask a bunch of questions, and it may explain why Penelope is not able to show compassion in the manner that Alexis feels like she needs. And Alexis is going to have to take some personal responsibility and understand that as an adult, yes, there's certain things in your childhood that would affect you, but if you know what the causes are, then you have to be willing to make those changes and make better. You cannot now know what the causes are and then blame your mom for the decisions you're making in your current life. It doesn't make any sense. If you don't know it all, then it makes sense, but you've already acknowledged that you know what the issue is to try and rectify it, which is why everybody's here. Laura goes into her gift box, and she literally picks up a box filled with a bunch of shit, like literally dookie in the box. And they're asking her, what do you think that it means? And she says that she don't know. She thinks it's a joke. Her dad in the audience says she's full of shit. I'm like, wait. Laura's dad just told his daughter that she's full of shit. And they asked him, why you think that, Michael? He said, because everything that she says is dishonest. He doesn't trust her, and he basically thinks that she's full of shit, so that's why she got a pile of shit. And I'm looking at it like, my father would never say some shit like that about me. You telling me I'm full of shit? What? Okay. Then Michael goes into his box, and his gift is a monkey. He said, monkey see, monkey do. Basically, what you're doing and what you're calling your daughter, telling that she's full of shit, you're full of shit as well. If you point one finger at somebody, you're pointing, all the other fingers are pointing back at you. So if you're going to say Laura's full of shit, then you're full of shit too. Then Gloria's mom also picks up some shit, and then gets the whole family shit. They're just full of shit. They're all shitty. They're just full of shit. So she says that she feels like whenever there's an argument happening, she doesn't want it to happen, so she feels like she just needs to get involved. As a mother, if it's between your husband and your daughter, you do need to get involved. It's not like it's between the siblings and you can stay out of it and let them mend it. It's your child, and her husband is out here sitting here calling your child, telling your child she's full of shit, and you saying nothing. This is the type of dynamic that allows somebody to get abused either sexually or emotionally, because you have one parent who's just mute and is not willing to stand up when the child cannot stand up for themselves. And a lot of times that's when abusive circumstances can happen, when a child gets malnourished, maltreated, not fed. You got one parent, and then when they get caught, they say, oh, well, it's not me, he did it. He made me, I was so scared, because you choose not to speak up, and that's gonna be a problem. Now they give them all keys, and they said that you guys have to decide which key belongs to which family, because these keys are going to open up your rooms. Because you know they got to pick a room. You know, they pick a room, and the room is supposed to depict who they are. Now they give Erin and Jane Highway to Hell. They give Alexis and Penelope Detoured. They give Cory, Eden, and Courtney the high road. And they give Michael, Gloria, and Laura Out of Gas. And that's how they describe their family problems. And now they're supposed to go find their rooms. Now, in the room, they have Laura's room, and in the room it says, we are all liars, which is what Laura said. And what Laura said, don't call me again, bitch, is what Gloria told Laura, and Gloria is her mama. Then you got what Michael said to Laura, she makes enemies in the family. What kind of dysfunction that shit is that? You got a mama who's calling you a bitch. Your own mother is calling you a bitch, and your father is saying that you are making enemies in your own family. What kind of ass? I don't think my mama will ever call me a bitch. I don't see that happening. I cannot imagine. She birthed me. She gave birth to me. You created me. You raised me. So if I'm a bitch, what the fuck are you? It's your fault then, because you're supposed to teach me how to navigate this world appropriately. And you're calling me a bitch? That's crazy. Okay, so they discuss in this particular incident that Laura repeated that molestation allegation, and she said it was a family member that did it. And she now says that her dad defended that man who molested her. And the dad went on confessional and said, oh, she told me 10 years later, so my response is, what you want me to do about it now? What the fuck you mean, what you want me to do about it now? I don't care if my daughter or my son tells me that somebody molested him in my family 50-something years later. You are my child till the day I die. I will protect you. 8 to 80, you can still get. I don't give a fuck if you're 90-something years old. If my child comes to me and tells me that you molested my child when she was a child and you were in your 50s or 40s, you at 90 years old will still get that ass whooping. It don't matter. I will still beat you and your messed up ass bones. Your wrinkle behind is gonna catch these hands and then some. You better hope to God that it doesn't go further than that, because me and you cannot exist in this planet together. We cannot exist. This world is not big enough for me and you to be in both alive. One of us is gonna have to go, and I promise you it ain't gonna be me. But here's Laura's father sitting here saying that she defended him because Laura told him too late, and what's he supposed to do about that? And it's her fault. I'm like, who does that? If my child comes and tells me, mommy, something happened to me, my instinct is to go and first believe my child first and foremost before anybody else. And for damn sure, I'm not finna defend this person. But that's the kind of psychological thing that she's battle that she's dealing with. And it probably makes sense, excuse me, as to why she doesn't trust anybody. Because if your parents can't protect you, who the hell are you supposed to trust? So this is gonna be some shit show. He's right. I mean, that shitty. I mean, the whole family's full of shit. It was a perfect title, and they're out of gas at this point because they're not even dealing with the situation properly. Erin goes into his room, and the room basically says that Erin says that the mom says Erin doesn't want to let go of resentment, and that's what the room depicts. And Erin says that the mom doesn't want to take responsibility because she was also an alcoholic when she was managing his money. So, and it was out news, everybody knew about it, and she refused to take responsibility. And in the confessional, the mom is at this point, you can tell she's getting aggravated. She did not want to come on this show. She says that Erin was the one who convinced her to come on this show. And on top of that, Erin's now putting all her business out there for us to see. And she goes in the confessional with Erin and basically says that Erin didn't have that big of a life, that hard of a life, because he's not Justin Bieber. And I know that she said that to dig it in, because that's obviously something that Erin is fighting about. He was a child star, successful. There was a lot of similarity in Justin Bieber and Aaron Carter's image when he first came out before Justin grew up. So Erin feels like I paved the way for that kid to go out here and be as successful as he is, but his mama ain't over here stealing from him, so he became successful. Meanwhile, my parents, who were drug addicts, who are alcoholics, who literally I should have been emancipated from, screwed with my money and with my future. And now you're gonna sit up here after I done fed your ass when I was a kid, brought money into the family, you're gonna say that I'm not no Justin Bieber. It really touched him to where he's now poking at his mom saying, you know what, let me be the victim, let me not, be a heroin addict, let me be a meth head, let me be a crack addict, let me be all this, and you be nothing, you won't accept responsibility for nothing. She gets up and says she's going. I'm sitting there looking at her mom like, lady, you need to accept responsibility and stop. This is not gonna go away until you acknowledge the part that you have played and start making amends, because healing begins once accountability happens. It's not going to happen. He's not just going to pretend like his money didn't support you and his lifestyle, and then when it came time for him to now use the money and manage it, he left with nothing. And you're sitting here telling him that he's not Justin Bieber. Whatever. This mom is a hot ass mess. She needs Parenting 101. She was right to get that damn book. Cory then goes into his room saying, I don't want to be in this room because this room is covered in a bunch of dead ass animals. And he said that we're big animal rights activists, and the room was covered in dead animals themes. The room indicated that they're divided and their childhood was lawless, so they have all these animals there, and he feels like they shouldn't even be in that room and it doesn't work for him. And he's throwing this tantrum and he's like walking out, and they're like, no, you're gonna end up staying in this room whether you like it or not. You can't be that much of a freaking priss that you're not gonna abide by the rules like everybody else. They go to Alexis' room, and the room has a big old sign saying, I hate you. And I'm like, whoo, this mama's gonna have to get up and see this sign every day saying that the daughter hates her. And I just feel bad for that, both of them. I feel like both women are on completely two different spectrums as far as where their mental state is at. You got one that's pleading for love. You got one that just can't give it because she's just tapped out of this entire emotional state. She's tapped out. She buried her emotions, and she's not willing to deal with it, because how can I get up every morning and watch my daughter say, I hate you? look at all these signs in this room and be able to express myself. So that's how they introduced all the families. And they did give us a little bit of a piece of a glimpse of what's going to happen. And you see Laura and her family going back at it and her trying to get them to admit what they did wrong. We had lie detector tests. We got Erin and his mama fighting. We got somebody passed out. They're going to have some paramedics come in for it. Alexis and her mom are going back and forth. I mean, it's supposed to be a hot mess. I hope they're able to work it out. But this is the introduction. I'm ready for the mess to see what happens. But we're waiting to see OG and her man come on their basketball wife. So we see what the issue is, because we know she wants to get married. She knows she wants Kwame to marry her. We don't know what's going to happen, but I'm looking forward to that as well. But go ahead and like and subscribe. I am going to try and do Love and Hip Hop Hollywood review if it's a good episode. If it's not, I'm not going to do it. But if it's a decent, then y'all can catch that review. And if you catch it, then you know that there was some shit in there that y'all need to know, because it was something that was worth talking about. Until then, I'm also going to do Basketball Wives, because I feel like we need to end this season knowing everything, because apparently Shani went in and tried to do some damage control and said in an interview, I feel bad that OG feels that way. Bullshit, bitch. No, you don't. So I'm going to talk about it. So I'm going to watch that. I'm going to let y'all know. Don't forget to like and subscribe, ring the notification bell, and subscribe to Instagram. I'll see y'all later. Love y'all. Bye.